Let me tell you why a lot of the heartbreaks that happen after a seduction happen. And it's usually because you're living ahead of yourself. You're living in expectations. You're living in things that you are creating in your imagination. They're not real. So you meet a girl and you think, oh, wow, she's got this, she got that. She seems like the full blown picture that you've been looking for. But you start now adding other pieces that are not there. So you start adding things that she never revealed, right? So you're living in the future and you start making up stories in your head about, oh, we're going to do this. And then I'm going to take her here and we go to Disneyland. Like, I don't know, you make up a story in your head that she's never agreed to. She never said that she was for that. You made this up on your own. You got your illusions in full blown speed. And now you start projecting these illusions onto her because you're thinking that she's thinking what you're thinking. And that very well be, but most likely it's not. And the disillusion happens, the heartbreak happens when your expectations meet with reality. And the reality is that that story you made about her and those gaps that you filled in because you knew a little bit, you didn't know it all. And when you start finding out things that don't align with that story that you had in your head, right? That's where that heartbreak comes in. That's where that disappointment comes in because you are now trying to reconcile that imagination that you had, that imagined future, that imagined person, and you're trying to reconcile that with the real person. And a lot of times it takes a long time for you to realize that the person you thought that person was never that person. That's a person that it lives a fairy tale in your head. And if you are able to be realistic, it's not saying that you're not hopeful or optimistic. It's saying that you be realistic. And if you don't see this person do what you think they should do, then don't create it in your head. Don't assume. And if you have not asked a question, do not assume that the answer is what you think the answer should be, because that is where these disillusionments come in. This is where you get heartbroken later on, especially the more time that goes by and the more time you live under that illusion, the more painful it'll be. And what makes me qualified to even talk about this is because I am speaking from experience. This has happened in my life over and over again, where you meet someone and you want them to be great so bad that you make them great in your head. And then when you realize they're not as great as you thought they were, then that's when you get disappointed. And then sometimes you try to say, well, okay, and you try to make up for it. So sometimes you come up with even more stories to excuse the fact that you were wrong. You thought wrong and you assumed, and you were not dealing with the same person that you had in your head. And the sooner you realize that when someone shows you who they are, that's the truth. Why would you try to lie to yourself? They're showing you who they are. They're telling you who they are. But in your head, you're like, no, they're not like that. It's like, they're telling you, they're showing you with their actions. And the more and more time that goes by, the worse the feeling gets. So I suggest try to live in a very slow way. You meet someone and the greater they seem, the slower you gotta go. Because most likely they are not who they say they are. And it's not because they're bad or they're trying to be someone they're not. It's because we all try to put the best self forward, right? So that when you meet people, you're meeting, that's as good as it gets. You're meeting the best self. And when that real person or those gaps start to get filled in, where, you start seeing someone's character, where, you haven't seen this person angry. And then one day you see them angry, you start seeing the character start revealing itself. It's always been there. It's just you're not able to experience someone's character 100% immediately. You know, it just reveals itself to you with time. So take your time and let that character reveal itself. And there, you know, no one's perfect, but also you don't have to put up with character flaws that are deal breakers for you. Because once you figure out what those characters flaws are, it might be too late. You might be already deep in some relationship or some other situation that you just can't leave. So just my suggestion is take it slow and take it, be optimistic, be hopeful, but be realistic. That's all I'm saying. And hopefully you avoid a lot of mistakes I've made in my life many times, because, you know, sometimes we're stubborn. We think, nah, that time, that was just bad luck. This time, this is real. Nah, no. Once you start seeing that pattern that happens over and over again, it's not luck. It's just being dumb, right? You're not getting it. You're being stubborn. You want to force something that's not meant to happen. So my word of advice, and hopefully if one person can listen to this and avoid a heartbreak, I've done my job.